Hello, friends. Hello. And welcome to yet another episode of the podcast. You're going to be watching and listening from several different vantage points today, and also probably doing this in a particular way to appease to the people that are listening, as well as to the people that are watching on video over on YouTube. So first of all, let's get us all settled in. If you're new here, welcome. Welcome to our podcast community, family, sacred space. If you're a returning listener, thank you so much for joining me yet again on another episode. I want to thank all of my podcast listeners, because that's where this TLC for the Soul podcast first started. So everyone coming from Audible and iHeartRadio and Google and Apple Podcasts and Spotify, thank you for supporting the podcast on these channels. I also invite you, if you're a listener there, to come join us over on YouTube, because I do a few extra things there that I'm not able to do on the podcast because they're more visual. But I try to do it in such a way, I do post to both places and try to do it in such a way that, like we said before, for these Freaky Fridays or these card reading episodes that you're listening to, it's a way to develop your clairaudience, in addition to just always looking at something and visually seeing what's going on. So I try to do my best to describe the cards, but if you want the best of both worlds, if you just want to see me, I don't know why you need to, but if you just want to see me, and my new little, my little microphone that we're trying out, then you can come check it out. It's also TLC for the Soul over on YouTube. And for my YouTube family, thank you so much for supporting me. We have a lot of new podcast family on YouTube, and I am really excited that you're here. Now, you may have found this episode either because you are following this month's experiential journey that we're doing for Kilimanjaro. And this is the card reading that I promised for us after we've left mid-camp and are headed up to the summit of Kilimanjaro. And there's some things that we kind of need to better understand before we can reach the top of the mountain. If you're like, what the heck is she talking about? I just clicked on this because it looked like a video that had a title that I needed to hear about, then that is fine too. This can stand alone as a card reading for you. But if you are interested in doing our experiential play series this month, Kilimanjaro, you need to go back a couple of episodes. So always go to my channel page or my home page, and there's playlists for everything. This is in the recent uploads right at the very top of my channel page, and you need to look at Kilimanjaro Part 1 and Kilimanjaro Part 2. We did the Part 1 on Sunday, and Part 2, I don't even know, was it yesterday? I don't even know the days anymore. So let me just get our Kilimanjaro folks up to speed. Let us get into what I call sacred space first before we do all that. And then at some point here, I'm going to shift the camera when we start pulling cards so that you can actually see the cards and not me. So as always, you choose how you want to listen here on the podcast. You can sit back and relax and just take in the messages. See if you like what we have here in this podcast family. You can choose to take your listening experience an octave higher as I wrap us all in love light and light love. Inviting in the spirit guides, wisdom, keepers, totems, spirit animals. You can choose to take your listening experience an octave higher and invite in your own spirit guides, angels, deities, power animals, whoever you want to work with to share with you any additional messages or metaphors or meanings, things that you might see in the cards that maybe I'll miss, or maybe it's something that's just a message just for you and you'll see it there, or it may not be something that I need to bring it up with, to the community. Inviting in the Pleiadians as I've started doing this month. If you're also following Kilimanjaro, then you'll know we're still on our preparation for the activation of our second sacred key, which we will do on Sunday. Still trying to get a better sense of what that second sacred key is all about. It's like I have an overarching idea, but I'm still not completely sure what I'm supposed to do with this key yet. But definitely key number 1, which is way back, and that's a whole other series you can start if you're interested, when we found the keys and we have reached this point now that we've been working with them for almost a month now. But the key number 1 was working with the Pleiadians to bring more fun for me into this episode. So for those of you that are starseeds, you'll resonate with that. It's one big, happy, all-encompassing spirituality family here. We've got starseeds, twin flame energy, divine counterparts. We do all sorts of stuff here. I'm an artist, an author, and a master healer. And this podcast is just one piece of my multi-dimensional creative talents that I bring to my service work with the community and with the outside world. So to set the stage, we've got the Pleiadians here. I also want to invite in, so they're going to bring in some joy and some levity and some fun to this topic. I'm also inviting in the angelic helpers who would like to work with us to infuse this episode with some angelic Reiki as we're listening to the topic, because it's going to bring up some triggers, I think. I just feel like it will. I know it is for me, and I feel like maybe I could get emotional talking about it. The overarching theme, so how we got here is at mid-camp for Kilimanjaro Experiential, we said our climb group was going to split into three different groups. Some of us, myself included, we're going to continue our ascent up to the top of Kilimanjaro. And this is a metaphor for those of you listening. Kilimanjaro is a very sacred mountain in Africa, but it's a metaphor for an ascension process that's happening right now within those of us that are going through this, working with this experiential, as well as many other people. I mean, outside of this, other way showers are doing, their own thing to kind of work with folks that are ready to receive this information, these downloads, these key code activations, this ginormous upgrade that we're getting. So it's not just me. I mean, you could be seeing something similar elsewhere. This is all work we're doing right now in preparation for Lionsgate on the 8/8. But that we were splitting. So some of us, myself included, are like, yes, I'm climbing, I'm going to the top. Others have decided they're not ready for that, and they have decided to go back down the mountain for whatever reason. So we reached the midpoint on Wednesday, and they decided to turn around and go back down. They may not even be listening to this episode anymore, because they were like, I'm just not ready for this. This is just too much, because it got a little intense right before Wednesday. And then there was another group I spoke of who lateral jumped to a whole other path, a whole other timeline. They weren't even on the mountain anymore. They kind of parallel timelined it off. So they thought that they were making an ascent, but in reality, they just made a lateral move to another timeline that was very familiar to them in terms of the feeling of it. So their intent was to go higher, but somewhere along the way, they kind of lost it. They lost that focus, and then an opportunity came up, and they lateral moved to another timeline. And they're like, this feels really good here, but it's not their highest. It's not their highest possible timeline. It's a detour path. Because they keep looping, and they or you, if you're watching this, You keep looping and doing this to yourself rather than continuing to your highest trajectory, your highest possible outcomes, things that you've already seen as your highest manifestations, things that have been shown to you by your own higher self and spirit guides as things that you said as a soul you wanted to attain in this lifetime. You kind of just went like, oh, something came up and it felt really good to you, and you like lateral jumped, and you're like, I lateral jumped, it feels really great here. But I saw for that group of people that was not in your highest and best good. And actually, yeah, they're saying it could be a detriment to the process because you kind of like backpedaled in a sense. And you've kind of gone back to some old ways of doing and being that are not in your best interest. They're not healthy for you in a spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical sense. But that's not for me to tell you, like, you've detoured again, because you're going to keep detouring until you figure it out. That's not the way to go. And this could pertain to a relationship that you jumped into. This could pertain to a job, path, career thing that you like suddenly came up and you lateral moved. Living circumstances, like apply it to whatever situation is most popping into your mind. So I can say that the people that are watching this are not like newbies on the ascension path. I think if you're watching me, you're somewhat of an intermediate to advanced spiritual practitioner, and it could be in a variety of modalities. You may even have your own channel. You may even have your own tribe, and I am here to help mentor you and in like some new ways of thinking and being and understanding, and just bringing in something fresh for you to mull over and chew on. And what I found too is a lot of us, myself included, who have a tribe, who have, like, I'm an author, I've written 10 books, I've published 6 oracle decks, I've done all this stuff, but still sometimes when it comes to like my own journey, sometimes it's a little muddled and I need like a little bit of help. And I still continue to watch, and have spiritual teachers and mentors and way showers and all that I pay attention to. And that helped me, because we're here to help each other. It's not like you get to a certain point and you don't need that. You don't need that guidance anymore. Like, we all need a little help from our friends, and that's what this community is all about. So the overarching topic that came up for why did some of you lateral jump? Why did some of you go back down the mountain? And even for those of us that are continuing to climb, remember Spirit said, you're not done with the work yet. You still got to get to Sunday. There's still like 2 more days. And today I'm recording this. We're in the Aquarius full moon, which is the bookend to another Aquarius full moon. And it sounds like the work that, the thing that I'm going to start to, the seed that I'm going to plant, the magic that we're going to weave into this reading, the intention we're setting is, whatever this is that's going to come up will work itself out between now and this Aquarius full moon at 29 degrees Aquarius in the mid-August. I think it's August 20th. So Spirit said the overarching theme of what's happening that we need to all look at in some way, shape, or form is broken promises. It's such a big topic. So it goes into this lifetime, and it goes into past lifetimes, and it's one of the reasons that some of us keep looping and getting into situations that it's time to get out of. So I want to see what the cards have to say. So I'm going to go ahead and switch the camera angle now and get it all set up so you can see the cards and you can hear me in the background talking, doing this reading. And let's just see what we all need to know most about these broken promises. How can we best work with them? What might they be? And how can we move forward and get ourselves out of some of these karmic loops? So I'll see you all back here in a second. Hello, friends. I am back. Getting ourselves settled. I'm actually walking around the room. Okay. Just looking for something. Sometimes I'm guided to get something. All right. So let's see what these cards have to say. So I'm using, these are decks you've heard me talk about many times on the podcast. So we've got Labyrinth of Dragonshire, Happy Cloud, we've got You Are Loved, we've got TLC for the Soul, and then Modern Witch Tarot. And I might also be using this Magic and Light deck by Sue Lyon. And then I think we're going to be reading something out of one of my books. These are some of my books, but we'll be doing a little intuitive read out of Reiki and Rock. So I kind of want to do this, like get the whole picture out there and then read. So let's just, I like to form like a little picture. I didn't pull any candle or anything this time. Oh well. All right, so this is our first card out. Let me get one more of these. This is our second card out, and I'll show them to you a little bit closer in just a second. What's on the bottom of the deck? It's not over till it's over. Only the heart knows. All right, we're going to take that one. Oh, God. I already see something here. All right, and then we're going to do You Are Loved. Oh, I got this one earlier. Wisdom Guide. All right. Do Happy Cloud. Let's just move some of these. They cause like a shadow. Maybe that's okay. All right, Happy Cloud. Just like to form a picture. Expand. You are upgrading. All right, because these sometimes like to form themselves into shapes. So I want to pay attention to that. All right, I did it again, I know. You're like, you just said don't put that up there, and then you put it up there. Let's get, oh, you're giving me a lot. All right, miracles, health, and breath. I feel like this goes at the top. Sometimes they form like the human, the human body. And it's like, I want to do this. This forms the word age. Okay, where do you want me to start? So this is broken promises. What do we all need to know to move forward on our path? So this is for people either just coming here, not on the Kilimanjaro journey, or you know, part of the climb teams and needing to get some additional information about either why you lateral jumped, why you decided to go back down the mountain, or why you're continuing to head up the mountain. I'm going to keep doing something here because I see something happening and I want to address it. All right. This is so interesting. All right, so here's what this is. This is Kilimanjaro. Which one? This is the lateral move, people. And if you're not doing Kilimanjaro, it's okay. You're going to listen to all these messages and take whatever resonates, and whatever doesn't resonate, just let it go. This is the lateral jump, people. This is our climb team that's going to the top. And this is the people that decided to go back down the mountain because of whatever reason. And we're going to get more information about that. And all of these, in some way, shape, or form, have to do with broken promises. So let's read first for the lateral sidestepped people who decided that some offer came along of something, and they thought that they were, they thought they, or you, because I'm talking to you, it could be you thought that you were making a really good move. And it feels really good. I think we said this yesterday because it's familiar to you. Interesting. I don't even know what that was. Sorry, some notification came up on my phone. It said, like, you're a master builder. And I was like, okay. Back on track. Okay. So the people that decided to sidestep, where's the camera? 6 of Wands, Miracles, that's a number 8 card, and the A with the hummingbird is air, new clarity, messages, mind chatter, and wings. So that's 3 cards. You sidestepped. You put yourself in a very similar situation to what you've already been doing for a while now. Did the camera just move? That was kind of freaky. So what I want to do is I want to read. I'm just going to take Reiki and Rock, and we're just going to do like we've done before. We're just going to flip it. They're saying the right side. So this is for you. Number 12, chapter 12, The Awakening. As Jenny and Logan were bonding with wolves, a different kind of bonding was going on at the beach. After a long night of flowers, candlelit dinner, and a walk on the beach, Jade and Rob had settled into a comfortable rhythm of conversation. It was just as Jade had imagined. Rob listened intently to her stories about growing up as a child who felt out of place in a wealthy family. I always thought I came from somewhere else, like they weren't really my parents, she said sadly. Oh my God, this is the broken promises, you guys. They cared for me, which usually meant buying my love. I guess in their own way they loved me, she said, feeling like a weight was lifting off her. She had never been able to talk to any man like this before. Rob watched Jade as if suspended in a dream. He felt like they had spoken these words to each other a long time ago, but that was crazy. They had just met a few weeks ago. He knew one thing, and that was he must have her, body and soul. He had never felt this way about anyone before. It didn't matter that she was a spoiled rich girl with parents she didn't appreciate, and he was a loner who was given up by his parents and had thus given up on love. He felt there was something bigger here than he could consciously explain at the moment, so he decided to just let it ride, as Steele would say. Okay, there's so much happening there. So why do you keep kind of self-sabotaging your higher vibration and your higher timeline? Why are you not able to transcend? And we said, yesterday, and if you didn't listen to that, we said, first of all, don't beat yourself up about it. You've taken a detour path, but this is the time when you're kind of being given, they're saying like the wake-up call to like, hey, why do I keep doing this to myself? I thought I was going to really like it, but now I don't feel so good about it. It's not everything that I wanted, because Spirit always says like dream big, and I think sometimes we get a little they're saying miffed, like that's not a word I would typically use, but they get a little miffed, like when we don't see our manifestations happen when we want them. And here we go. And it all goes back to broken promises. And I said it this morning. I said, I personally said, as I was thinking about a certain situation, I'm like, but Spirit, you promised me that this was going to happen. And of course, in their little like, okay, child, yes, it is, but it's in your time. I mean, our time, not your time or whatever. Like Spirit's like, it's in my time, not your time, like divine timing. And it does go back. It goes back. That passage I just read in the book, Jade had some stuff going on with her inner child work she needed to do, because her parents really didn't pay a lot of attention to her. They had a lot of money, and they just tried to like buy her everything that she wanted to kind of satiate her. But Jade, if you haven't read the book, you should read the book. All the ebooks are free to read over on any ebook publisher. But if you haven't read the book, they just tried to placate her, and I guess their love language was buying her things to show her that they loved her. But that wasn't her love language. Jade's love language was she needed love and affection, and she needed to be told that they loved her, and she needed to have cuddles, and her time with her parents, like where they spent time with her, and just that's all she really wanted was like her parents to like be there and spend time with her. She didn't care about the material things. I mean, yes, of course, like I think they bought her a pony or something at one point. Like, yes, it was fun, but it wasn't really what she needed. Her love language needed something different. And so in her mind, it was almost like a broken promise. Like, well, you said you loved me, but you didn't really do anything to show me that you loved me, even though to them, they thought it was, right? So it can't be faulted really to the parents. Same thing with Rob, although his parents treated him horribly. He was given up by his parents at a certain age because they couldn't take care of him. He had horrible parents. I'm trying to remember the story now. He had horrible parents because it came out in his Reiki session. He had horrible parents. All they wanted to do was like do drugs and hang out with each other, and they basically wanted to get rid of him because they felt like he was a burden, and so they gave him up. They left him. I don't remember where they left him or how they did it. It was horrible. And so he lived his life like in foster homes and stuff. And, definitely no parental love there at all. And so he is like messed up until he has some stuff happen to him in the book where he meets Jade, he meets Jade, and he meets Jenny, who's a Reiki practitioner, and that kind of opens up his whole spiritual journey. What does that have to do with you and broken promises? Well, again, for Rob, so there's many different circumstances. Like for Rob, I mean, the promise of like, aren't your parents supposed to always love you and care for you and show you love and affection? And, you start to look around and see like parents who are really kind of loving their kids the way you want to be loved. And, he didn't get any of that. So he's like, it totally needs a lot of healing. And I haven't been able to write a sequel yet because I'm like, I don't know if I want to, the sequel to that would be like, I don't know if I want to go through whole Rob's healing process. So I haven't really done anything with Jade and Rob at the moment. But you keep getting yourself into these situations because it's comfortable to you. So you may find yourself in a situation where, your needs aren't being met, but it feels comfortable to you. So if it's a relationship, it could be another thing like, like Jade or Rob's, childhood. So you could be getting yourself into a similar relationship that reminds you of the love language from your childhood, but it's not the one that you want. It just feels comfortable to you. So it feels really good. Same thing with like, a job or a place that you're at. It just feels comfortable to you, but it's not, you've seen your highest and best good and you know it's attainable. You don't know how to get there yet because Spirit has to show you, but you sidestepped and now you're like karmic looping again in the same life lessons again. And I can see it like it's not just this lifetime, it's past lifetimes. If it's a romance, it's the same type of partner. If it's, I don't necessarily be a job, but it's the same type of life experiences that you keep looping through because you're trying to learn the lessons, like you just can't get there. And the good thing is, this as we invited in the Pleiadians to kind of infuse some magic into this episode, and we invited in the angels to start working with angelic Reiki, if you are open to the healing and to the to being shown a better way, they're not saying the right way, because any way could feel right to you, and there's always more than one door that you can walk through and still be happy. So, and that is also a theme of this Aquarius full moon. I just saw a whole, I love Wonder Girl Astrology, and she just did an amazing video about adjacent possibilities as part of this Aquarius full moon. Your guides want to show you a better way, but you have to trust them, and you can't like duck out and run just because it gets hard, just because it's taking too long, just because it's not what you want, like you want it faster and it's not here yet. So you're like, oh, this other thing, it looks shiny, so I'll just go jump over here. And it's like, no, don't do that. You know, that's me. Like, no, why do you want to do that over and over and over again? It's like Groundhog Day, the movie. If you haven't seen that movie, I don't know, it's kind of depressing in a sense, the movie, because Bill Murray, he just like relives the same day over and over and over again with Andie MacDowell until he finally gets what the lesson after I don't know how many damn days. He's looping and repeating the same day over and over again. Yeah, so you know, you can. I mean, if it feels good to you and you're like afraid to, okay, part of my role here is like to, in a sense, to trigger you and to help you to see your higher potentials. Because I guess it's part of like, I can see people's highest timelines that spirit is available to me, that they're showing me, and it like disappoints me in a sense when it's like I'm your coach and I'm like, no, why did you do that? You know, I'm that one that's like here to like push you a little bit. It's not all airy fairy here on TLC for the Soul. I mean, we can get a little, I don't know if hardcore is the word, but we can get a little like, they're like saying like, get a little in your face, like your coach. I'm kind of like what is that? What is the movie with Tom Hanks and the baseball team of the girls? And he's like, there's no crying in baseball. That's kind of like, what the heck is that movie? Oh God, you guys, tell me about that. I don't remember the name of it. But anyway, it's like, I'm here to like a loving parent to like push you. I'm not a helicopter parent, that's for sure. But to kind of push you a little bit and be like, that's your highest timeline over there. Don't settle. Don't settle for the Groundhog Day again and again and again and lifetime after lifetime. So the guides that are here are saying, you know, this is an opportunity for miracles, and you can be successful. You can make it to your desired outcome, but you have to believe in miracles. You have to believe that it's possible, number one, because if you don't believe that it's possible, then this conversation is pretty much over. Like, there's no sense in even continuing on. Like Master Ko says, you might as well just go find yourself another channel, because we're not going to, you know, we're not going to get through to that mentality. It's just not going to work. You have to open yourself up. You have to open yourself up to the messages, to the joy. A little hummingbird, so joyful and so cute, and he's so cute. The new messages, new clarity, new higher mind, more letting your angels, on the wings of angels, come in and help show you a better way. All right. Is there anything we want to add there for these folks? Okay, so they're saying that's all for that. So you could be watching this too, and you could fall in all three camps in different parts of your life, they're showing me. You know, it could be like romance, you're over here, your spiritual growth or whatever, you know, you're here, and your career or something, you're over here. So as you're watching this, you know, it's not really a pick a card, it's like the whole entire reading has messages that might pertain to your entire situation or part of your situation, and so you might want to just keep listening. Okay, these are the people that side jumped. These are the people that decided to go back down the mountain. So these are the ones that just kind of gave up. But you could have given up. When I say go back down the mountain, it could have been like you just decided you didn't want to do this climb. Why didn't you want to do it? Why do you not want to ascend? Why do you not want to take your vibration higher? Why do you not want your highest manifestations that you've seen? You've seen them. Just like Abraham Hicks says, they're in your vortex and you've seen them, they've shown themselves to you, and you were like really gung-ho at the start of this climb. At base camp, all of us together were like, yes, we're doing this. I remember it. It wasn't just me there by myself. It was multiple of you there with me. And then at some point you reached mid-camp a few days ago and some things happened. But I shared on that episode, on mid-camp episode, like some things happened and I could have just definitely thrown in the towel for the whole walk home in the heat scenario. I won't go into it all again, but I could have just been like, screw it. I'm just going to like call for a ride. And just yet again, when another similar situation comes on, try to get through it. But instead I got through it and I feel like I'm better now. So why did you go back down? Why did you stop? They're saying everything is fine. It looks like everything is fine. Health. And it's not over till it's over. Only the heart knows. Okay. It's like your heart just wasn't in it. To begin with. So you've quit this climb, you've quit this journey, or you considered quitting and just, staying where you're at, staying put. And it's because you're tired. You're tired of climbing. You're tired of, this seems very temporary. This seems like you really just need a rest. So you'll go back down the mountain. And it sounds like you'll need to rest a little bit. You'll need to take care of yourself a little bit better because apparently you weren't in the best physical, mental, emotional shape to have done this climb to begin with. And it all centers around the heart. We've got a heart here. We've got a heart here. And on the back of the card, they talked about only the heart knows. So it's kind of like you just weren't ready. You didn't have enough. You didn't have enough wherewithal. You just kind of, they're saying you kind of did give up a little bit too soon. It's kind of like that. I've shared this before. I've heard somebody else share this too. Like, okay, I'm doing my power walk in the morning. I've got 2 miles to go. And I'm all gung-ho for it, and I'm out there. This is not overcome by heat, but this is like, got the music on, I'm going, I'm about 3/4 of the way through, and then, I get a little twinge in my side or whatever, or I just start to think about, it's feeling kind of tired today. I don't know about that, I'm just feeling kind of like, nah. And all of a sudden, the thoughts in the mental body transfer down to the physical body. And all of a sudden, my body just feels like, I just can't make it. I just don't know. I just feel so tired. And then I stop and I start walking. It's like that. It's like everything's fine. But it was kind of really like your mind took over and changed your heart's desires. And you kind of let yourself get talked out of the climb, like just, it's just too hard, I just don't want to do it. I've actually known clients that have told me like, I know what you're telling me, I get it, it sounds really good, I totally resonate with all of it, but I'm just too lazy and I don't feel like doing the work. They've actually told me that. Like I've had people actually tell me that. And then I was kind of like Master Co, like, well, our work here is done. Goodbye. Don't come back. Like, why waste my time, right? So this is, you've got to get yourself back into alignment again. And the angelic Reiki that's coming through right now, if you choose to accept the healing or choose to accept whatever's being delivered via the angels, via the Pleiadians, is going to help you get back on track again. So you need a little bit better mental conditioning, some stuff to help get your mental body under control. It really is a certain type of meditation. I really do recommend Master Ko's type of meditation. Not everyone resonates with him because he's really hardcore and he's very blunt at times. But sometimes he's just like the whip you into shape kind of mentor that you really do need. You can continue to listen to this podcast if you want, and I'll keep trying to whip you into shape. But you need some direction and some guidance, and you need some accountability. And really, for you types, you really do need like a mentor or a coach or a guide, be it somebody you find on YouTube, somebody you resonate with in your 3D, like physical world, not online. But you really could benefit from having somebody who will make you accountable for your spiritual path. So I will leave that up to you. But if you don't, then you're going to keep continuing to like run away from it all and talk yourself out of whatever growth needs to happen in your life. And it's not just your spiritual growth. Like, you're going to see this manifest in other ways in your physical world, where you're running away from problems, running away from, situations, too lazy or too tired, or whatever the lie is that your mental body is telling you, that your ego possibly, might be calling it ego, but that your mental body is telling you to talk you out of doing what really needs to be done. You've got it in you. We all do. It's just you in particular need a particular, you need like a plan. You need somebody to help you come up with a plan of how to get to certain points in your life. So you are the group where I would really say, like, yeah, you need a guide, not just a spirit guide. You need like somebody in the 3D world to guide you. All right, let's take a deep breath. Let's breathe. Because if we're going up to the top of the mountain, remember we said the altitude gets a little bit higher. Our heart actually got bigger. Our heart space is increasing, which is part of the downloads and the template upgrades that we'll be getting as part of this Lionsgate. We talked about that in the mid-camp episode. We're getting a whole new like sacred mind template. And our heart's already pretty big. Our heart chakra, our heart space, and our sacred heart is pretty well developed at this point. This group's done a lot of spiritual work to get to this point where we're already like halfway between mid-camp and the top of the mountain. And so let me just go back over here. This broken promises over here is broken promises to yourself. Broken promises over here was broken promises that somebody else, you felt like somebody else made you that weren't followed through on, either from past lifetimes or this time. This one is kind of like you're failing yourself over here. You're breaking all your promises to yourself. This one, let's see what broken promises have to do for those of us in this camp. So we've got the moon in reverse, and the way I read reversals is they are like the significator card, so like an exclamation point, like the highlight of the cards when they come out here. I'm like, this one is like ding ding, ringing my bell. So the moon, all about our intuition. Expand, we're upgrading. It's happy cloud. Wisdom guide. So this is like the Hierophant in the major arcana. We didn't even read from a story over here. Maybe then we don't need that. And then we got, oh, look, there's the Pleiadians. It's a long way to the top. Enjoy the scenery along the way. Card number 8. There's a lot of 8s coming out in this reading. We've got 8 here. We've got a 9. Oh, and we've got a 10. The breathe card is 10. Like by the time we get to the top, we're just like, oh, we can breathe. We've done it. We're successful. So what does that have to do with broken promises over here? Are there any broken promises? The only promise they're saying that can be broken here, for those of you in the middle group going to the top, is when you don't trust your intuition. When you don't trust your guides, your wisdom guides. When you don't trust your spiritual journey, which is your expansion. And when you kind of like don't stop and smell the roses and have fun and just enjoy the journey. You've already done a heck of a ton of work. And so it's realizing like, it's like getting ready to be ready in a sense. For those of us making that, that climb to the top. It's like we break our promise to ourselves because we promised ourselves. We were on a spiritual path. We were going to do whatever it takes. We promise ourselves, I know I do, maybe you don't, but every day I'm like affirming, I'm on my highest timeline. I'm on my highest trajectory. I'm on my highest vibration. I know what manifestations I want. I see them. I know they're attainable. Spirit never came and told me like, no, none of those things that you want are not for you. They just keep saying like, the thing we hate to hear, like you're almost to the end, divine timing, yada, yada, yada. So we break our promise to ourselves when we don't trust our intuition, trust that we really are on this journey. We really are upgrading and expanding. We really are in the higher realms. We really are working with our multidimensional self. We break our promise to ourselves when we don't trust our guides, and when we just don't stop and have fun and honor our inner child and just take a deep breath and just know that everything is going to be fine. So I want to, okay, hold on. I do want to come back to these guys and just read something from the Missing Shadow books, Kyanite Fairy Wing. This is actually the old cover, but just to see if there's any additional messages. And I'm going to read a message for those of us in the middle group, and then we're going to call it a reading. So let's see. These are for the people that just said, oh, I'm too lazy. Wait, hold on. I can't. Okay. So they're saying on the right-hand side of the page, it was several more pages from Crystalia, the Missing Shadow book. But what? Perry, oh no, it couldn't be. She couldn't be the thief. Kyanite had known her since they were young. It just couldn't be her. Her mind was racing, trying to piece everything together. She had never thought someone guilty until they were proven so without a shadow of a doubt. But this wasn't good, not good at all. She took the pages and moved with Moon stealthily back home. After undoing the invisibility spell and thanking Moon for his help, she sat outside under the oak tree to think. Her head was pounding, and she remembered that she needed to call Lilac. So she went inside and grabbed her cell, moving back out to the old tree. Sitting on the cold earth, under the old oak, she breathed deeply while dialing Lilac. Lilac's cell rang and then went to her voicemail. Darn it, Kyanite thought, I need to speak to her. She sent a text asking Lilac to phone and then lay back on the cool ground. What was happening here, she wondered. She lay there breathing softly and dropped into a deep dream. She never thought someone guilty until they were proven so without a shadow of a doubt. This is where Kyanite thinks her best friend has stolen these shadow books, but she can't automatically assume that there's anything wrong yet because she just doesn't have anything to go on. And I think that's where we go here with the everything it's fine. It's like, well, you just can't assume like your whole journey shot because you don't have enough evidence yet. It's like you need to keep digging deeper and do some of the things that we said with possibly getting some coaching or some mentorship on your journey or on your path or with whatever this life experience is that's kind of tripping you up and causing you to feel like you need to give up. All right. And then last but not least, for those of us in the climb team going to the top, they want me to read from Chaga and Chai. Let me just see. the left side. Oh, Hanged Man. Okay. Rowan hummed along with his music channel as he packed his bags. He was actually doing it, taking a much-needed vacation and with a woman he loved on his arm to experience it all. He reached into his medicine chest and pulled out the box of condoms he'd been using, tossing them into the bag. He wondered, no, actually hoped, he could get Larimar to let him off the hook, so to speak. If he could impregnate her with his child, surely she couldn't and wouldn't want to leave. His higher self quickly stepped in and warned him about entrapment. He had a hard time with the abandonment thing still, and he let those feelings be taken up into the light by his angel spirit guide. He, too, was quite lax in his spiritual work, for if he had been more tuned in, he would have felt the deep sense of foreshadowing that accompanied this voyage. Instead, his masculinity took over as he pulled several pieces of sexy lingerie and jewelry out of the closet. He would give these to Larimar throughout the trips to coax her into his arms and onto his bed. Okay. First of all, there's a lot going on here. So the guides are trying to have fun by kind of adding some levity. This is kind of like a funny little chapter. But in this case, for those of us that need this message, Rowan and Larimar are a couple at the moment, and they both kind of like, oh my God, he's like afraid to commit to her. We never dive into that in the book, but he's trying to like he's not completely on a spiritual path, or if he is, he's not really doing the work. And Larimar is, and she is totally in alignment with having a divine counterpart. And she kind of thinks that he is, but he's really not, because there's somebody that's been coming to her in her dreams and her visions and so forth since she was younger, who is really her divine counterpart, who really embodies the twin flame energy, not like Rowan, the current partner. He's just not. It's not because he likes sexy lingerie and all that, believe me. It's because he hasn't really done much spiritual work on himself at all. And he has some abandonment issues from childhood going on too. So broken promises from his parents, which have kind of got him in a loop of creating the same type of relationship patterns every time he goes into a relationship with someone. And Larimar in the book just starts to begin to kind of see that in the peripheral, like things start to feel like kind of off with him. She's not sure why. And she's really keeps getting pinged energetically by this other divine masculine, and even her guides and one of her friends who's part of the Spectrum Book Coven from our Bringers of the Light series, tells her like there's someone else out there waiting for you. You just haven't found them yet, although you're very close to finding this person who is like destined to be with you. And so I won't go too much more into the book, but she goes on a journey, a spiritual journey, to get to the top, which in the book for her is finding her divine counterpart. So each of us listening here in this kind of camp have these higher light manifestations that we're wanting, and this is like a little extra message from Spirit saying it's like you're almost there, you're so close, just like we are, like to the getting to the top of our own ascension game. Like you're so close, you've done so much work on yourself. Keep going, keep climbing. I find it interesting, they're even like climbing. Keep going, keep climbing, keep following the guidance that you're getting. Enjoy the scenery along the way. Like, don't get so caught up in the getting to the top that you forget to enjoy the journey. Trust what's coming to you. Just follow the steps, because notice this group got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards, and these guys got a 3. This is 3, 5, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 5, 3 could be an angel number we need to look up. 3, 5, 3. But this group got 3, this group got 3, and we got 5. And 5, 3 is a number, like, you can do a lot with the number 3. Is like the master builder. That's what came out when I was reading on the notification on my phone. 3 is a master builder number. So if you've got the wherewithal and you can follow your guidance and stuff, you can build and continue to grow and continue to go. You just have to, like, take some initiative and listen to your guidance. But we're on the 5 path here in the middle, and 5 is great change. It's like the 2 tower cards that I got at the beginning of the journey. It's like the Take Me to the Top song that I talked about at the beginning of the journey at base camp, the Loverboy song, Take Me to the Top. It's like we're on our way to the top in anything that you're desiring, in any manifestation that you want. You're on your way to the top. Just keep going. Just trust. And you're going to get there. You're going to be Larimar. You're going to get there. I don't know what happens to Rowan in the book. I don't know where he goes, but maybe that needs to open up for a second to see what happens to him. But you're almost there. And there's a lot of change happening along the way. Everything's expanding. Everything's upgrading. Your guides are here to support you. So just relax and have fun. Oh my God, they're saying that's all. That's it. All right, you guys. Wow. So that was pretty amazing. For those of you listening, I hope you were able to get able to visualize what we were talking about. And if not, you can always pop over to YouTube and catch the visual on the video. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me here. The next time I talk to you will be this Sunday, next couple of days. For those of you doing the Kilimanjaro climb, we will be celebrating the fact that we made it to the top, because I'm definitely not stopping now. And we'll see what else comes up for that. So thank you all so much again for joining me here. We will see you again soon in the next episode. Take care.